Hey Josh, you just hit 4 million followers. No way. You calling me a liar?
I ain't calling you a truther!
Hey everyone, John here, and welcome to another episode of my series, Must-See Episodes, where I talk about great TV episodes that you should check out. This time we're talking about an episode of Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. Yes, Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh was probably one of the best, if not the best, children's sitcoms ever made. What exactly was it that made Drake and Josh so good, you might be wondering? Well, believe it or not, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Dan Schneider's recent shows are so bad that Drake and Josh looks like a masterpiece by comparison. Although that certainly helps. But anyway, let's take a look at one of their episodes and see what made this show work so well. This is the Season 2 episode, Number 1 Fan. So this episode starts off with the typical Drake and Josh split screen, where the two of them, separately discuss their experiences working with and taking care of, younger children. Drake's experience, as you might have guessed, was positive. Josh's, on the other hand, not so much. But let's get into the actual episode. Okay, so we start off and we see that Walter, Drake and Josh's dad, is the chief of their little sister Megan's, Campfire Kids troupe. This one seems to be more along the lines of indoor camping, by the way. I just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, like the adorable little demon she is, Megan, along with the other Campfire Kids, tied Walter to a chair.
Megan! Megan!
Josh! Megan!
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 Megan! Megan! Megan!
So at that point, he decides to quit and then put Josh in charge. And when Josh announces that he is the new chief, one of the girls' reaction to this is just absolutely hilarious, by the way, but I won't say the joke is. Meanwhile, we see one of Megan's friends talking to her about Drake. She's asking, where's Drake? Where's your brother Drake? And it turns out this girl, who's named Wendy, has a big crush on Drake, so much that she ends up going up to his room to introduce herself to him. And this is where we get the first taste of Wendy's, very funny obsession with the character Drake. They talk and stuff. Wendy's, all obsessive and, fangirly and whatnot. And at one point, eventually, Wendy has to go home. And, at first, Drake doesn't really think much of this, interaction the two of them just had. But as he's about to find out, it gets much worse. Yeah, it turns out Wendy ends up being, like I said, really obsessive. For example, while Drake is at the movie theater with the girl, Wendy comes up and verbally assaults her, as Drake puts it. Yeah, the reason she was there is because Josh had taken all the Campfire Kids to the movie theater to teach them about wilderness survival and stuff. Not sure why the movie theater, but maybe that's the joke. But anyway, he tries to teach them about wilderness survival and stuff, and they're just not into it. Thankfully for the audience, this gives us some more good comedy.
All right, Campfire Kids, huddle up.
So what movie are we seeing?
We're not seeing a movie. We're here to learn about wilderness navigation.
Aww, you're the worst.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, we get a lot of really good humor in this episode. That's definitely the episode's main strength. You see, Josh, part of it comes from, Josh's plot, where he just keeps trying to teach those darn kids something, and they're just not having any of it. He's really passionate about this, but they just couldn't care less about it. And that contrast between the two of them, is really funny. But like I said, a lot of the comedy here also comes from the plot with, Wendy and her obsession with Drake. Like I said, as it goes on, she just gets kind of like more and more obsessed with him, and a lot of the comedy just comes from kind of like how weird she is about. Yeah, I mean, this could have easily come off as creepy, but it works here because she's just a kid, and sometimes kids just do dumb things, it happens. Now, I won't get into too many details with how this plot resolves with Drake and Wendy, but let's just say, you can probably guess that eventually it kind of does the typical thing where, he just eventually gets fed up with her, and he has to just yell at her and say, look, just leave me alone. Yeah, this is a more dramatic scene in the episode, and I like it because it feels very natural. The reason I bring this up is because often when you kind of see this kind of thing in sitcoms, the more like serious scenes like this, sometimes it can come off as kind of just like forced and, not believable, like they're kind of just doing it for the sake of, being serious. But here, you know, it had a natural progression and, you know, proper build-up, so it works. And, you know, Drake Bell's acting here, you know, is very good, and that helps as well.
You know how much trouble you little flyers caused me? Everyone in my entire school made fun of me today because of you.
And yeah, so without giving away the ending, it of course eventually all works out and, you know, ends with a very touching and, I'll just say, entertaining scene.